What's happening right now in Venezuela, Greenland, and Iran could reshape global politics for decades. In early January 2026, President Trump authorized a military operation that captured Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. Now, he's making threats towards multiple other countries. Are these isolated actions, or are we witnessing the beginning of something far more dangerous? Today, we're breaking down the facts, the risks, and what this could mean for global stability. Let's get into it. On January 3rd, 2026, U.S. forces conducted a military strike inside Venezuela, capturing President Nicolás Maduro and his wife. According to Venezuela's interior minister, at least 100 people were killed in this operation, with Cuba reporting 32 of its citizens also died during the raid. This wasn't just a capture, it was a full military intervention in a sovereign nation. Maduro is now in U.S. custody, facing federal charges, and has declared himself a prisoner of war. But here's where it gets more serious. Trump didn't just remove Maduro, he's now saying the United States will run Venezuela and control its oil industry. He's meeting with U.S. oil executives about rebuilding Venezuelan infrastructure and personally deciding which companies can operate there. Just days after the Venezuela operation, Trump ramped up his rhetoric about Greenland. He's been talking about acquiring this Danish territory for years, but now he's openly threatening military action. Trump stated, "We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not." When asked how he'd acquire it, he said if he can't do it the easy way, he'll do it the hard way. Here's the problem. Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, a NATO ally. Multiple European nations issued a joint statement warning that any action against Greenland would trigger NATO's collective defense obligations. They stated clearly, Greenland belongs to its people, and they will not stop defending its sovereignty. According to polls, 85% of Greenlanders oppose becoming part of the United States. Only 6% support it. Meanwhile, Iran is experiencing massive anti-government protests, with dozens killed in recent days. Trump warned Iran that if they violently kill protesters, the U.S. would intervene militarily. Senator Lindsey Graham went further, warning Iran's supreme leader that Trump would order his assassination if suppression continues. Iran's parliament speaker responded by saying all American centers and forces across the region would be legitimate targets if the U.S. intervenes. Iran's foreign minister called Trump's remarks reckless and dangerous. This is a powder keg situation, especially since Trump already bombed Iran in June 2025 during what he called a 12-day war. But Trump isn't stopping there. He's also made threats or suggestions about Cuba, saying the government will fall and doesn't need U.S. intervention, though Secretary Rubio called Cuba a huge problem. Colombia, Trump called President Petro a sick man who likes making cocaine, and when asked if there could be an operation there, responded, "Sounds good to me." Mexico, ongoing threats related to drug trafficking. Nicaragua, Senator Rick Scott suggested it could be targeted next. And Canada, Trump has repeatedly teased that Canada should become the 51st state. This isn't just rhetoric. After Venezuela, every country has to take these threats seriously. So is this a strategic mistake by Trump? Let's look at the consequences. 1. NATO crisis. Threatening Greenland has put the entire NATO alliance on alert. European allies are questioning whether America can be trusted. One Danish official said U.S. communication has pushed many European allies towards China. 2. Neo-imperialism. Foreign policy experts are calling this neo-imperialism disguised as America First. The Council on Foreign Relations notes that Trump's national security strategy explicitly calls for enforcing the Monroe Doctrine and achieving hemispheric hegemony. 3. Destabilization. Multiple countries are now on high alert. Russia and China have condemned actions. Iran is threatening retaliation. Cuba could collapse, Colombia is preparing for potential intervention. 4. Legal precedent. Republican Congressman Don Bacon called the approach amateurish, saying, "I feel like we've got high school kids playing Risk." 5. International law. This violates basic principles of the UN Charter regarding sovereignty and territorial integrity. So could this lead to World War III? Here's what we know. The risk factors are real. A NATO ally being threatened could trigger Article 5. Iran has explicitly warned of targeting U.S. forces. Russia and China have condemned actions. Multiple countries are on edge simultaneously. The international order is being openly challenged. However, major powers aren't rushing to war. Russia and China have condemned actions but haven't mobilized militarily. NATO is trying to manage tensions diplomatically. What we're seeing is extremely dangerous brinksmanship that's breaking decades of international norms. Whether it escalates to broader conflict depends on how other nations respond and whether Trump continues down this path. What's clear is that we're in unprecedented territory. A U.S. president has conducted a military operation to capture a sitting head of state, is threatening military action against a NATO ally, and has put multiple countries on notice. Whether this is a strategic master plan or a dangerous mistake will become clear in the coming months. But one thing is certain, the world has changed, and we all need to be paying attention. What do you think? Are these actions justified for national security, or are we witnessing dangerous overreach? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this analysis helpful, please like and subscribe. I'll be following these developments closely and updating you as the situation evolves. Thanks for watching, and stay informed.